So look, I think you're going to see record turnout today. And I think one of the things that's really interesting to me and heartening to me is that this has been an election and people have talked about division, et cetera. It is clear that people on all sides of this election believe in the process. They believe that their vote matters. They're participating in our democracy. That makes it a good day. And for people who are interested in whether they should get out to vote, the answer is absolutely. This is the day to do it. And really take not just your own voice, but participate in this collective act of democracy.
How important is that to believe in the process right now with all the questions about future lawsuits, current lawsuits, and everything else in between?
Yeah, look, I mean, look, two things are really important. Number one, the election day is not the end. We all know there's going to be some overtime period, and we're comfortable with overtime in college football. We need to be comfortable with overtime on this election, and we have to believe in the rule of law, right? I mean, that's something that we know that our court system works, that our electoral officials work. I mean, look, I'm a Democrat. I'm voting for Kamala Harris today, but I have faith in, for example, our Republican Secretary of State that they're going to run a fair election. And I think we all have to be willing to talk about that as Americans first, Democrats or Republicans second, and we'll have a great, great day, and then a good outcome to this election.
Passion would be the word I'd use most for voters on both sides at this point, including your grandfather, who had a passion to actually vote in this election. I mean, what's to be said about that for what he wanted to do, and then just the voters that we're talking about across the nation?
Yeah, sure. So my grandfather's 100 years old. And for 92 of those years, he was not in big time politics, right? He was the president for 4 years, governor for 4 years. Those 92 other years, he was a citizen. And he has always taught us that that is the most important title in this country. And what citizens do is they vote and they participate and they make their voices heard. That's what it means sort of fundamentally to be an American. And for him, it was really important. And he, yes, wanted to vote for Kamala Harris, wanted to turn the page on the Donald Trump era of our politics, to put the sort of meanness and darkness behind us and to move forward together. But, you know, other people may have other views. That's certainly ours. But the fact that so many people are out here participating is what makes this country great. And it's great to be a part of it today.
Is there any way to compare what you know of what he went through in the rhetoric and the passion in a different way than what's going on now, and that grassroots that he had compared to what Kamala's dealing with?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, my grandfather, stood up on the bar at Pinky Masters in Savannah, right, as just sort of a regular guy from a tiny town in South Georgia, and never referred to his opponents as anything other than my distinguished opponent, right? I mean, those sort of statesman days are behind us. Even when I ran for governor 10 years ago, it was different than it is today. And I think that, sort of Donald Trump's attitude and vitriol and his enemies list has really fed that in a negative way. But I think that people are sick of it. I think that we have the ability to still have statesmen out there. I think the vice president can do that. And I think that we'll see people being ready again to turn the page on this sort of era of, if you're not for me, then I'm not for you. And I think the fact that she's been to Savannah multiple times with her running mate, that she's been to South Georgia otherwise, just demonstrates that this is somebody in Vice President Harris who's going to represent everybody in Georgia and in the United States, not just the people that vote for her.
Obviously, you've got history in politics along with your grandfather in the state of Georgia. What has this meant to the state and to you and to everybody concerned that Georgia has become this epicenter, and that we've seen more in our area in South Georgia than ever when it comes to presidential candidates, and they are focused on this area and realize how important it can be?
Look, I think it's great for us. I think, when I ran for governor 10 years ago, we campaigned all over the state. And then, just in the last election, Georgia elected a Republican governor and a Democratic senator. And that means there's people in this state that are paying close attention, that are to who the candidates are, what the candidates believe, and they're making choices. And those people who make choices in this state have put themselves in the center of our national discourse. And that's great. Georgia has been in that center before. It's the cradle of the civil rights movement. It's been at the forefront of voting rights. And frankly, it's been at the forefront of leadership in both parties. And so it is good for everybody to have folks come and campaign to you. And I think, frankly, South Georgia in particular is going to benefit because it's been taken for granted for a long time by Republicans and Democrats. And I think that community, which still has so much to gain, is really going to benefit from being a power broker in this national election.